Hey guys, Metal Viking 82 here, about to show off a really cool package that I got from my buddy Bryan Eckermann. Of course, he's the guitarist and he also lends vocals to the band Scars of the Flesh, who actually just released a really killer album last year entitled In Darkness Alone, which if you have not checked this out already, definitely go do so. I did a review for it, so if you want my full thoughts, go check that out. But you know, I had a couple of Bryan's solo albums here from his under his actual name, Bryan Eckermann, as well as 3 CDs from one of his other projects, Wings of Abaddon. And I wanted to complete my collection on all his stuff, so one day I went on Bandcamp and I just ordered everything, or at least I thought I did, because once I got the package, I realized I forgot to put one in the cart, so I had to do another order and get that in. So, of course, you know, he was really excited about that. And like I said, I just wanted to not only support my friend, but complete my collection on all of his stuff that he's put out. And he actually threw in some extra goodies, which cheers to you, Bryan, for that. Thank you so much. I did not expect that. I never expect anybody to give me extra stuff, but it's always cool when they do. But he gave me this cool Scars of the Flesh patch, as well as one for the Bryan Eckermann project, I guess you can say. So very cool. Definitely want to get those on a jacket at some point. And this one really shocked me because he actually sent me this huge ass flag for his last album, Plague Bringers. Hopefully I can get this all in the shot. Absolutely love this flag. It is massive. I've got to figure out a place to put this as soon as this video is over, or should I say as soon as I finish recording all these videos I want to do today. But yeah, going to get into this huge stack of CDs now, starting with the last one that I needed for Wings of Abaddon, and that is Sound the Horns. Of course, Wings of Abaddon is a death metal band from San Antonio, Texas, active between 2009 and 2018. They are currently listed as being on hold. They were formerly known from 2000 to 2009 as Blessed Agony, which you will be hearing that name again towards the end of this video. But this is their debut full-length album put out independently by the band themselves. Features current and former members of Scars of the Flesh, obviously, as well as Cerebral Desecration, among many others. Really solid album, definitely worth checking out. And now on to the rest of the stack here, which is mostly stuff released under the Bryan Eckermann moniker, which of course his solo project under his name is actually more of a melodic black and death metal. Been around since 2014. And in this band, unlike Wings of Abaddon, Bryan handles all of the instruments and the vocals. Kicking things off, you have Ghosts of Earth. And this is his debut full-length put out in 2014. Then we have Creeping in the Dark. And this is the second one put out in 2015. Then we have Under the Veil of a Blackened Night. I always really dug the artwork on these releases, and especially his cool logo. Yeah, this third album was put out in 2015 as well, so very proficient year for him, 2015. Then you have The Haunting at Helmbrook. Again, more really killer art there. Yeah, this is his fourth one that came out in 2016. Now, this one is kind of an interesting one here because he actually threw in an extra with this one because this is the one that I forgot to order the first time around. But this is Winter's Plague, The Final Eclipse. Love the artwork on this one, and as you can see, Bryan was really cool and signed this one for me. He was actually intending to sign all of these for me, but he's a really busy guy between his other bands and just work and life in general, and he forgot to sign them. So hopefully one day I will be able to meet him in person and get him to sign them personally. But what is interesting about this one, and that was his fifth album, came out in 2018, and it was actually originally released under the Winter's Plague moniker the same year as, hold on a second, let me make sure I'm reading my notes here. Now, yeah, the same year that this was put out, It was actually put out under the Winter's Plague moniker, with the album just called The Final Eclipse, and it was actually intended to be the debut album for his original solo project before it became the Bryan Eckermann. And that was formed in 2003. Eventually, though, he rebranded this album under the Bryan Eckermann moniker, and yeah, it kind of helped to kind of cut down on the confusion here. And what was really cool is when he was getting ready to send me this one, he said he had actually found a sealed copy of the Winter's Plague version. As you can see, hopefully, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the side. It just says Winter's Plague, The Final Eclipse. So yeah, this is going to stay sealed. So definitely, he thought he had sold out of these long ago. So to have an original version of this, as well as a signed copy of the newest version, very cool. So that was really awesome of him to do. All right, moving on. We have Malcolm Rivers. And this was actually his first EP. This came out in 2019. I forgot to write that down on my notes. So yeah, the first EP that he's put out for this project. And the final one for the Bryan Eckermann project is The Seventh Sin. And this came out in 2020. And as I said, I showed the other two. So yeah, we're definitely due for a new Bryan Eckermann CD. But as I stated earlier, his one project, Wings of Abaddon, was actually known as Blessed Agony. And they were a black and death metal band that were active between 2000 and 2009, as I stated, before changing their name to Wings of Abaddon. And they only put out 2 releases, and I was actually able to track down both of them. I found one really cheaply at a distro, and then the other one I had to get on eBay, and I got really cheap, thankfully. And he said that he was glad that I was able to find those, because I guess they're kind of hard to find these days because they were both limited prints and everything. But first up is actually a split called the Texas Extreme Metal Split CD, basically called Chaotic Infestation. And yeah, this is a split that was put out by Killzone Records back in 2005. Some of the other bands that you have on here, you have Masochism, which was brutal death metal out of Austin, Texas. Been around, or that was active between 1993 and 2006. They eventually changed their name. They do have a second EP, though, from 2006. Then you have Scattered Remains, more brutal death metal, this time out of Austin. Been around since 2004. Really awesome band. Then Disfigured, another brutal death metal band that I am familiar with. They were out of San Marcos, Texas. Been around since 2003. Then a couple more that I was unfamiliar with. You have Abythos, which is more of like a doom black metal, apparently, out of Austin, that was active between 2005 and 2007 before splitting up. Then finally, Blood of the Lamb, which is a very mysterious band because there's not much information on that band at all, and that they were death metal out of Taylor, Texas. No idea when they were formed. The only release they ever put out was the stuff they put out on this split CD. There was no lineup shown or anything, so it's kind of a mystery band. And then, of course, you know, Blessed Agony has a couple of tracks on here. And then I was actually able to find a sealed copy of the band's lone EP, Confined Slaughter. And yeah, this was actually mastered by the legendary James Murphy, which is really cool to think about. And this was released in 2006. And Bryan even told me, he said, you know, I'm glad you found it, but be prepared for some dog shit playing, because he said they were not very good in his opinion. And listening to it, I don't think it's that bad, but you can definitely tell this is a young band trying to find their sound, and definitely a young Bryan Eckermann trying to, you know, find the sound that he really wanted to get. And I think he has come a long way since this EP, and really done an excellent job with Scars of the Flesh, and as well as his other projects. So this pretty much completes my entire Bryan Eckermann catalog discography. So I was really happy to finally check that off my list. So yeah, that is going to do it. Like I said, I will leave a link down below to his Bandcamp so you can check this stuff out. And yeah, that is going to do it. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. And until next time, stay brutal.